Clive Barker Podcast audio commentaries.
Thanks to your generous donations to our Kickstarter funding campaign, Clive Barker Podcast presents Fundraiser 6, Bill Seeker. Welcome. This is episode 210 of the Clive Barker Podcast, and today we're doing an audio commentary for a movie called The Last Movie Star. And I'm Ryan.
And I'm Joe.
I'm Rob.
Hey, it's good to hear from you guys again.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's a really fun movie that we got today. It's like you said, The Last Movie Star with Burt Reynolds, and and at the time when we were doing the Kickstarter, you wrote down "and a jacket by Clive Barker."
Yeah.
And as it turns out, there's a lot more than just a jacket in this movie in terms of Clive Barker's art, and we're going to be pointing that out a little bit throughout the movie.
In all honesty, it's a lot easier to spot Clive Barker's art in this movie than it is in the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Oh right. Yeah, you said that was kind of hard.
Yeah, I had a hard time finding it. You know, but maybe I was just getting sucked into the show and I wasn't noticing it. But we'll get to that, you know, later on in the year. But but this will be interesting. And actually, at first, I was kind of dreading watching this movie because it didn't seem like the kind of movie I'd be interested in. But I really liked it once I watched it. What did you guys think of it?
I loved it. I thought it was, like I said, I picked it to be number 2 on my best 10 list of the end of the year review.
Oh wow, yeah, right.
I really enjoyed it. It was very surprising. It was like I said, it kind of reminded me of Gods and Monsters after I watched it. Yeah, I watched it a couple times since and. Still has that same effect. And
Jose and I just coming off of Cold Heart Canyon. I mean, it's got some similarity to Cold Heart Canyon too.
Yeah, especially in the opening that we're going to point out in a bit. But I thought this movie was. I enjoyed it as well. It's. There's a quote from Burt Reynolds that he said once. He said, "All you really have in the end are your stories," and I think that this is what he did. It ended up being kind of his swan song, right? There's a certain sadness and a lot of comedy, and kind of a redemption arc here for the actor that he plays. But I was very surprised by the movie, and I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. Which is. You know, I shouldn't say it that way because when I went into it, I didn't have a lot of expectations. I hadn't seen a trailer for it. I hadn't seen anything about it. I just knew that, you know, there was some Clive Barker art that was featured into it, and that was the reason why I was going to watch it. Yeah. And then, you know, of course, Burt Reynolds passed away at 82, just a few months after he completed this movie. But you go look at his IMDb, and he's still got projects that are going to come out in 2019. So it's not going to be the last. Yeah, it's not going to be the last thing that he's on. So I guess that's the way it goes, right? You know,
I was a little nervous because this might be the first time. Well, it's not the first time, but it's one of the few times where we promised to do an audio commentary for a movie that we hadn't seen. I guess the other one is Barn of the Blood Llama, and that was horrible.
Yeah.
But that's in a category all of its own, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. It's a special kind of bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now this is a full-fledged feature, and I was very happy to watch this movie. I had a fun time. I saw it with my wife, and so I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about Burt Reynolds because I think he's been a part of our Hollywood pantheon for a long time. I mean, I started watching movies. I started watching Burt Reynolds maybe in some westerns when I was a kid. My parents loved westerns, so I guess I might have seen him in some westerns, and then I remember him in Cannonball Run, Gator.
That's what I saw him in was Cannonball. Was the Cannonball films.
Striptease. He plays a congressman.
Never saw that, but yes, you're right.
You never saw that one?
No,
that's a good one.
He was all like his character rubs Vaseline all over himself. or something like that in that movie.
Oh,
I just
wow.
remember.
I
like,
think
they're like-
so.
They're like, what
Yeah,
are you
he's trying to
what's up? What are
seduce a
you?
stripper.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yep.
Yeah, I hadn't seen Burt Reynolds in anything since it's been like 20 years or something.
Well, he was in Boogie Nights, and he got nominated for an Oscar in that. And
Yeah, well,
then
I
after
think
that,
I
he
think
was.
I think even that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, it is. Nothing. And then he disappeared again. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing him a lot in stuff when I was young, a kid, but hadn't really revisited any of that stuff. So this will be interesting.
I think he was 81 when he did this movie, so 80 or 81. So when I was watching the movie, I thought to myself, are they making him a little older than he really is with makeup and the cane and all that? I was wondering if they were just trying to make him look more, aged than he really was. But then I realized, well, no, he's 81. And then I saw him in YouTube videos and interviews and stuff when he was promoting this film, and I was like, no, he's really that old. He's still going on stage with a little cane, and people are kind of helping him sit down and stuff. So yeah, it was pretty amazing that he was able to carry a film almost by himself, like he does in this.
Well, and so we're going to be watching. We've all got it kind of queued up on Amazon Prime, and for those out there listening, if you were following along with the movie, and you have Amazon Prime, this one is free with that service, so you can just watch it without having to pay the rental fee and stuff. So
Right.
That's what we're doing. If you have a Blu-ray or a DVD, none of us have that, but you can try to follow along. But we've got it set to on the Watch Now button, and we're just going to push the button and get it started. So who wants to do the countdown? Okay.
3, 2, 1, play.
All right.
There's the A24 logo looking all retro.
Yeah. Do you guys have the Whitener Entertainment Group and Mant Brothers?
Yes.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome movie star extraordinaire Dick Edwards.
It's cool that this is one cool thing I think about this movie too, is the way they pulled in all this old Burt Reynolds like superstar talk show stuff.
Footage. Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like he would have made a great Bruce Wayne if they would have made a Batman movie.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
He really does.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so kind of look about him, swagger.
He was being
Definitely
interviewed
swag.
there by Robert Frost, who also interviewed Nixon.
Robert
So
Frost,
it's,
the poet.
No, Robert Frost, the TV host.
What show is this, Jose? Do you happen to know what this is? I didn't.
I'm not sure. I know that the interviewer's name is Frost.
Mm-hmm.
He's the same guy who interviewed Nixon in that movie Frost Nixon.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Is it Robert Frost or David Frost? Now I'm curious. I might be saying the wrong name. But it was cool that they made that. It was David Frost. I'm sorry. It's cool that they made that distinction between Burt Reynolds and Vic Edwards.
Yeah.
They created an alternate character.
Yeah. But he was in a lot of the same movies, it turns out, as Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. From Glory Days to a vet office, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, and that first close-up of his face, that I was thinking that exact same thing as you, Jose. It's like, did they make him up to look this old?
Mm-hmm.
But no. I mean, I think it's just we're just not used to seeing him.
Yeah, it was a little squanto. And this movie kind of opens up a little bit the same way it closes when we're focusing onto, and I'm assuming people have seen this movie before watching it with our commentary track, so spoilers.
Yeah.
But you open with a zoom in to him in the vet office with his dog, and then at the end you're going to be seeing like him looking at the camera with his new dog at the end of the movie. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
interesting thing there. This is something nobody ever wants to think about, right? And that's what it opens with, like a punch to the gut. You know, the movie
Yeah.
opens with this
The dog kinda
decision. It's like,
represents
yeah,
his dying, inside as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
You know,
and like
it's
in
loss
Cold
of
Hard
hope.
Canyon, the dog is kind of a tie to his old life. You know, that he can't let
Oh, yeah.
he can't let go of, or he doesn't want to let go of.
Right. At one point, I think he tells someone that, and I'm talking about Cold Hard Canyon, but he says that he was with me when I was nobody before he became a famous actor in that book. Of course, that's a powerful moment there when he just puts that collar
Yeah.
Yeah.
and drives away in his Mercedes.
Yeah.
Oh, you see the license plate? It says 3 Gates 21 Gators.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he used to play football for Florida State, right?
Yeah, he was a.
Before he
Remember
became
what
an
position
actor.
he played? Was he a running back?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I love this. I love this thing with a claw.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
pulling out the mail.
Getting the
Yeah.
mail. Yeah.
And his house is nice, but it's definitely dated.
Uh-huh.
Oh, there's Squanto.
Which I think is supposed to be like a play on his Deliverance character, or I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, wow, that is so dated, all that stuff in there. I mean, it's a nice house, but
Looks like he's got a place for a receptionist inside his house.
oh, yeah.
But you're right. That white bamboo style furniture is really dated.
Yeah.
Those like kind of placemats and stuff you put on your table.
And he's got that old, oh man. Yeah.
The carpet's dated.
Yeah. And they really downplay.
It's like a bachelor pad.
They downplay how sad this is, you know, with the dog being gone. And now all he had was his dog, and now he's by himself.
Now he's got a ghost dog.
Yeah. I never noticed that he put a new TV on top of the old TV.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
those are.
yeah. That's a
I
good.
used to have a TV like that. I mean, I think everybody had a TV, but
Yeah.
those were the TVs I remember watching G.I. Joe on and He-Man and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Cannonball Run.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the dog death kind of mirrors his own age and sickness, and that's going to be there's going to be a parallel thing with that when he takes his medication and then he realizes he took the dog medication.
Oh, I didn't catch that the first time that he had taken the dog medication. Yeah, and you know, one thing, it's nice seeing this for a second time, because the first time there was a lot of anxiety with seeing just him doing normal day-to-day stuff and knowing that he's alone. You keep thinking, is he going to have a heart attack and fall over in the grocery aisle, or, you know, what's happening? But it's really kind of more about how he's alone and sad.
And horny.
Yeah.
It's going to be like looking up and down at some valley girl in a bit.
Yeah.
No, this movie was shot in Knoxville, right? All this stuff, like Knoxville, and,
Right.
which is actually just down the road from it. Not down the road, but it's only just a few hours. Nashville. It's shot in Knoxville and Nashville.
Yeah.
It was originally going to be shot in New York, but one of the producers convinced the director Adam Rifkin that he should change the location, and Adam, after seeing the two cities, really agreed. So rewrote the script to fit the.
Oh my God! He buys Hungry Man frozen dinners.
Yeah, talk about dated.
And he bought one. So does that mean he goes grocery shopping every day?
Hey, you know, he's got to carry that stuff in.
Yeah.
I don't see. Oh, there he is, watching some football. So that would be in Los Angeles?
Right here,
I'm not
yeah.
sure.
Los Angeles. It's there's Fletch.
The wonders of yoga pants.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Griswold and the Bandit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's great to see like Chevy Chase.
Yeah, I got a kick out of seeing him in this.
What didn't he have some kind of? Isn't he like really difficult to work with these days? Or they had some kind of problems with him on Community?
I think so. Yeah. I wasn't that much into Community, so I'm not. I've heard some stuff about that. Yeah, that also SNL. He's not very happy about SNL, and he's talked trash about the current cast and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. Seems like lots of people do that. It's like everybody's favorite SNL is the one where they were teenagers, staying up late watching it when they weren't supposed to.
Yeah, it tends to be a topical show, so you get pop culture references and all that, so people can identify more with what they used to watch.
Yeah.
Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about this, and it's like if we tried to put on a convention, that's what it would look like.
Come to Fairbanks.
Yeah.
We got 4 hours of daytime.
Well, I guess, yeah, if it was in Fairbanks, that would be even worse than the one that these guys have.
Could stay in one of your rentals, Ryan.
Mm-hmm. I only have 2 left, and they're both selling this month.
Yeah, I mean, Burt Reynolds has been in some pretty bad stinkers as well as some really good movies. But yeah, is he making oatmeal?
Yeah.
Oh, here he comes.
Morning breakfast.
Oh, is this where he took the dog medicine?
I think so. Let's see. It's that little blue or green thing. That's for Squanto.
Oh, shoot. Squanto Edwards.
Yep. Thanks so much for that.
Yeah. So does that do anything to him? I don't remember.
No, I don't think so. There you go. And he's like, maybe I should go to this thing.
Yeah.
Hey, if Clint Eastwood went there, it's good enough for me.
Yeah, and he's got a point. I mean, when he gets mad later and says that's misleading,
absolutely.
It really is. It's pretty hokey. I mean, if we did some kind of convention, that's not something that we would do.
Yeah, you either do something really well done, or it's no point in doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think these people knew exactly what they were doing, but that can be true for a lot of events when they start up, right? I mean, I think the real mark of quality for an event is that every year it gets better.
Yeah. So that makes you wonder what this thing was like when it started, because every year they invited one of those people that on their list, but they just didn't show up.
Right. Oh my God, she is so annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when I went to my first airplane trip, when we went to Texas Frightmare Weekend, I didn't get this kind of person, but I'm sure there are people like that.
Oh yeah.
Most of them want you to go to the kiosk. They don't like you to get in line.
Or sometimes when people talk to older people, they kind of treat them a little bit like babies, and it's like, you don't have to do that. That's why they get so grumpy, I guess.
Yeah.
And here he is in coach, thinking, what am I doing here?
Yeah, he was supposed to be in first class.
One of the first times I flew coach, I went from Portugal to Canada. And right next to me, some big fat guy, as soon as we take off, he takes off his shoes and takes off his socks and sticks his feet right on the, right across the,
man.
There was a seat that led to that looked upon a wall with a TV, and he just stuck his feet on the wall. Boom. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. You never know what you're going to get when you fly coach.
Yeah.
I like that part where the band was part of the movie soundtrack as well.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, well, there's my limo.
Yeah, that's so sad.
Yeah, he thinks that's for him, and it's just the band coming out.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, Nashville, big music town.
It's very big for the country
Is that where they have
like
the
Johnny
Grand Ole Opry?
Cash yeah, exactly.
Oh, here we go. Holy shit.
I love this character.
Yeah.
She's,
Yeah.
She's,
When I saw this, I was like, whoa, that is way too short to be wearing that.
and she's so like unaware of how it looks, or doesn't seem to care.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's, let's see, what's her name? She's Lil,
Yeah,
right? That's the character.
Ariel Winter.
Her
Right.
name, the actress's name.
So here's
Lil,
there's the jacket with it.
Yep, there it is. With the screaming ghoul.
Yeah. That is a
I had
cool,
never seen.
that's a cool jacket.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like
I don't think I've.
does she have buttons from the real Clive Barker store?
I
was
can't
looking at
make it
him.
out.
Maybe not.
And she reminds me of somebody I met when I was down in
Texas.
yeah, name a woman named Katie Irby.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looks kind of just like
Yeah,
her.
but this one is really over the top.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean not like that. I mean the dress, but just her face and the hair. The long hair.
Yeah. So Ariel Winter, I hadn't seen her in anything, but apparently she's been in Modern Family, and she's done some voice work for cartoons and TV shows.
Oh. Oh God.
She
look at
was.
her. Oh.
Toast, piece of toast.
There should be more dust inside the car. It seems like they just put a bunch of garbage in the back seat, but there should be a lot more dust. It's
That
like,
is
oh my
horrible.
God, stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like totally like changing lanes into the reverse traffic.
Yeah. Econo stay. And nobody's there. It looks that hotel looks
Yeah, no,
abandoned.
He's got the only reservation at the
Yeah.
whole place.
Highway Motel. Usually you get to see an empty pool, some hookers around,
Yeah.
and probably some drug deals going down in the parking lot. I love the way the mirror is so dirty and the TV is so old.
Yeah.
False advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah, people have to be professional if you start an event. I mean, if it doesn't get better every year, if it never passes mediocrity, then it's doomed.
Yeah.
They were
Well,
making more of a, yeah.
And the false advertising, that is pretty horrible what they did to him. I don't know what
Yep.
what kind of reaction they were expecting to get from him, but some of it he's a grumpy old man, but a lot of it too is like he's got a good point.
Yeah. There's a show on YouTube I usually watch, and now I think it's also on Amazon Prime. It's called Another Dirty Room. And I love watching that stuff because they go to these like cheap motels, the cheapest they can find. And they check out the room, and then they basically verify if the room is if there's bed bugs in the bed or if there's mold on the bathroom, and they completely do a tear down of the room, and they just go through every single thing.
Do they?
And
do
you wouldn't
the,
believe
the black light and stuff.
they do the black
Oh
light
my
and
God.
stuff.
Oh no.
And it's terrible. Most of these motels and highway roadsides, they're terrible. You go, you pull out the sheets and you look under the box spring and there's like dead bugs,
Oh.
syringes. One time in a closet in like one of the rooms, they found a bag full of like old canned food, a ham in a can,
Oh.
Oh, that's so
meth
gross.
pipes. People just, live there. Transients just go in there and spend the night, and they just leave lots of garbage behind.
Oh my God! Yeah, when I was the president of the board of realtors here, we would go lobby in Washington D.C. and I stayed in a hotel there, where there was blood on the sheets,
Clive Barker work.
Ugh. Yeah, more stuff there.
and they're like, "Oh, sorry, we'll get you some new sheets, but we can't do
That
it
is-
until the morning because the morning manager has to do that."
Yeah. You know what's funny about that sketchbook is that it seems like some of that stuff is printed photos of paintings. They don't look like they're
Oh yeah.
crayon
Yeah.
drawings or
Right.
anything. They look like they were paintings.
Right. And maybe they don't expect like Clive Barker fans to be hyper analyzing it, but it's a good point. That's the one kind of, I really like this movie, but that we talked about that a little earlier, and I don't remember if that was on the microphone or not, but or if that's part of this episode, but it does seem like a little bit of a mismatch, the art that she does versus like her and her personality. It's kind of hard, maybe because we know Clive Barker's style so well, I don't know, but it's kind of hard to put those two things together and say that and believe that she's the artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a fictitious McDougal's bar in Nashville, but it's really filmed in Knoxville's Longbranch Saloon.
Oh.
That's where this is.
So they've got was that 100 people maybe at this convention?
That's what it looks like.
I'm not yet. Maybe
They have really fancy lanyard staff badges and stuff.
I love the way that guy's filming because he just moves his camera all over the place.
Yeah.
That's not how you shoot something at all.
Yeah.
And that guy was from Superbad, right?
yeah.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
kick ass. That's what I think it was. Was it kick ass?
Yeah. He's like such a nerd.
Oh my God, gradation and dynamism.
I think, this is more of a party than a movie festival. I mean, their hearts may be in
is.
the right place, but there's a bit of a critique of fandom here as the people look so young and nerdy, a little immature, unexperienced,
Yeah.
And they're kind of under the spell of the image they conceive of their idol, which is pretty much divorced from any real connection with them outside of watching their work or maybe watching interviews with the actors. I mean, most of the times, even authorized biographies tend to be full of fabrication and embellishment.
Yeah.
A documentary about this historic event.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? And he tends to connect to the person who could not be less impressed about him.
Yeah, which is interesting. She didn't even know who he was, which it's kind of hard to believe with her brother, growing up with her brother the way she did, how could she not even know who he is?
I love
Probably
the way
with
these
somebody
guys
with
keep.
her brother, he probably talked about him so much he got sick of hearing about him. And
Yeah.
That disconnect.
Yeah.
I love the way that people keep filming with their phones and flipping them portrait and landscapes. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to make it like, oh, I'm trying to get the good shot here. Oh,
Yeah,
just
that's funny.
film it straight.
Yeah.
Didn't he say that was the red carpet right there, those shots?
Yeah.
Awkward. They should be playing dueling banjos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd been perfect. Because that's from
Look at this guy.
Deliverance.
Woohoo! I'm gonna put this on the gram.
God. Oh yeah,
I think-
is that his wife or girlfriend that starts hitting him? Starts bugging him about social media.
Yeah,
and
the
it's
social media.
Such an awkward conversation.
He's like, what have I gotten myself
Yeah.
into? I'm too old for this. Yeah, he's thinking about the glory days when
Yeah.
people wanted to,
Thousands of people were.
Yeah.
men wanted to be him, women wanted to be with him. Do you guys think he always looked a little bit like Marlon Brando when he was younger?
Yeah. He was considered a Marlon Brando kind of type, wasn't he?
Yeah, Marlon Brando hated his guts, though. And he said,
he?
I don't know why, because I never even talked to him, but I think they were thinking about casting Burt Reynolds in The Godfather 2, I think,
Oh, wow.
to play like Marlon Brando's son. And then they went with Al Pacino, I think. Like Vine doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah. This is so painful. It's like she's so unaware. She's so clueless.
Hey, but that's what promotion is like nowadays. It's like media influencers and stuff and brand representatives go on Instagram and someone sends some makeup to Kim Kardashian and she puts it on a picture and then boom, that thing becomes like super popular.
But if she had any, I mean, if she'd done any research at all, she would have known that he's not on any of those services.
Sure.
Yeah. That screen,
I love it.
oh my God, that screen.
Yeah, that
it's
screen
like,
back there. Yeah, the whole
it's like
thing's just.
from a classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, hey kids, today we're not going to have a class. We're going to have a movie. Yay.
Yeah.
Here's the wonders of childbirth on VHS.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we always watched film strips of the Narrows Bridge in Tacoma collapsing and Mount St. Helens erupting.
Yeah, we did too. Things
For like
that.
geology class or something?
Yeah.
No, just elementary school.
Elementary.
He's like, oh, I'm gonna. Yeah, he's like, this sucks. I want to
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah, get
back
me out of
home.
here.
Do you guys remember an episode of X-Files where Burt Reynolds was in? I think he kind of plays God in that episode.
No.
No. What was
Yeah.
the name of the episode? I'll have to.
It was, what was it called? Improbable, I think. I think it was called Improbable. And he kind of plays God, and there's like a guy who's like the devil, and he's got a ring that has like 666, and he kills people. And then this guy plays chess with Scully and the other, I forgot the name of the other agent. She's a brunette. This was back in like a later season of X-Files where they had Doggett and the other agent, and Mulder and Scully were kind of second,
Huh.
Yeah, and then at the end, I remember particularly from that episode that they pull out at the last shot of the movie, and there's a landscape of a city, and the city is making the face of Burt Reynolds. So that's
wow.
what stands out for me from that episode.
Huh.
I have to check that one out. I never saw that episode.
I tried to watch all the X-Files episodes, a couple of years ago, and I got as far as one of the movies, and then I wanted to watch the movie, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Not even at like Blockbuster, they didn't have it, and I couldn't find it online, and so then I just kind of gave up.
Yeah. Yeah, he used to do his own stunts, and for example, when they did Deliverance, I think they go through a dangerous stretch of rapids, and I think I remember something about an interview. Let me see if I got that on my scene. Oh, so one scene, the stunt coordinator decided that a scene showing a canoe with a dummy of Burt Reynolds in it looked phony. He said it looked like a canoe with a dummy in it. Reynolds requested to have the scene reshot with himself in the canoe rather than the dummy. After shooting the scene, Reynolds, coughing up river water and nursing a broken coccyx, asked John Borman how the scene looked. The director said, like a canoe with a dummy in it. So much for that.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. He did a bunch of stunts, and he hurt himself pretty badly doing a bunch of stunts.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Like in the 90s, the Jackie Chan movies, they always would show him hurting himself doing his stunts in the end credits.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The original title of this movie was called Dog Years.
Yeah. Yeah, and the production
Curious why
company
they
at
changed
the end, they even call it
I actually like that
Dog
title
Years.
better.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. It seems like maybe there was some kind of marketing decision to change that.
Yeah, maybe the last movie star has more of a appeal to it.
Damn, Bjorn's an asshole.
He's, oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a douche.
there is nothing good about that guy.
So this reminded me when he goes out of the screening and the bar's closed. It reminded me just when we were in the L.A. at the Crest, Westwood.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, you know what? I've seen the movie so many times. I'm just going to step off for a little bit because I was like, I was just a little overwhelmed, and I went to the bar, and I was like, "Hey, is the bar open?" It's like, "No, sir, the bar's closed." It's like, "What?" It's like we're having a screening in there, and the bar's closed.
Yeah.
Damn. I think they could have benefited from having the bar open.
Yeah, that would have made more sense.
Swedish for shit. Yep. He's doing the reverse psychology.
Yeah.
He once met Greta Garbo, and he didn't recognize her. He mentioned in an interview once that he was at a party in Hollywood, and there was this like gorgeous woman, and he kind of started making conversation with her, and she said, "Can you give me a ride home?" And he's like, "I didn't have my car, but I just jumped in a cab with her and took her home." And it's like, when they arrived, he was like, "So what's your name?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm Greta Garbo." And that was awkward.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't recognize her. I think when he was promoting this movie, he made lots of interviews where he reminisced a lot about the past.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's nice, though, to get those, like, you know, like they say in this movie, to get those stories. Because he probably didn't know he was going to die soon after.
Right. I'm just going to grab some more coffee, and I'll be right back. You guys keep
Okay.
watching it.
Reserved for Mr. Edwards.
Yeah, it's funny that they didn't notice that he walked out.
Yeah, during the movie. They were more, you know, they love, you know, the icon of the person that seems right now than the person. And she ends up getting to know the person,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really cool the way that the arc of this movie is the way that they both become better people.
Yeah. And that's why I relate it to Gods and Monsters, because she kind of reminds me of Clay Boone,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser character, you know.
Right, because he didn't know or care who this person was that he was taking care of.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Dick, you okay? Come on, big boy.
Right now, he's kind of just going along with the embarrassment.
Yeah.
You know, he's just.
Yeah. And this, you know, that guy is so clueless. He's like, oh, I got to keep filming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you should know this is not the time. It's probably best to turn it off for right now.
Maybe try to help him.
Yeah.
You know? Some fans don't want you. They don't want to get to know the person underneath the icon. They just want you to be that icon all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they realize you're a person, it's like, oh, you know, they
Yeah.
kind of get disappointed. Actually, kind of like, you know, I would love to get to know the person of the icon.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Oh, he's totally sloshed.
Yeah.
So many whiskeys.
Yeah. We were just talking about how you know embarrassing this whole scene is, and then especially that dumb guy that keeps filming.
Yeah. That will come to a head pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was really good friends with a stuntman called Hal Needham. They actually shared a house together for a while. After Hal Needham's wife kicked him out of the house, he went on to live with Burt Reynolds for 5 years. They were really good friends. And he ended up directing Smokey and the Bandit
Oh wow.
with Burt Reynolds. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
There's Quentin Tarantino is actually writing and directing his 9th film. It's going to be a $100 million mystery crime thriller. It's called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And the two main characters are based on the relationship between Burt Reynolds and the stuntman Hal Needham.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was going to be more about Charles Manson.
Well, back in 2018,
I think it's going to be probably
a
lot of different stories, probably.
Huh.
Yeah.
Intertwining.
It's going to have Brad Pitt.
Does his stories.
Yeah, Brad Pitt's going to play Hal Needham, and I think Leonardo DiCaprio is going to play young Burt Reynolds.
Wow.
And Burt was going to be in the film. Actually, he got cast in the film, but,
Are they playing actually those people, or are they playing fictional characters that are like those people?
That's a good question. Let me check that. So that was... I think they actually played those people, Burt Reynolds and Hal Needham.
Oh, good. Cool.
No, actually, you're right. It's Rick Dalton, former star of a Western TV series, and his longtime stunt double, Cliff Booth, who's played by Brad Pitt. So it's kind of like based on their relationship. It's not as Burt Reynolds and Hal Needham. I just checked it out.
Oh, okay.
It's like, hey, it's what comes up, and it's what your agent brings you. You gotta work.
Yeah.
He's gonna have a moment of clarity.
Yeah. Yeah,
I remember watching.
It's interesting. He just said bad choices, and that's kind of the theme of this movie is trying to make up for the bad choices he made along the way.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Burt Reynolds. He was not in a very good mood in the Jay Leno show, and he had just broken up with Lonnie. It was the woman he was married to, and it was a very hard divorce for him, I think. Lonnie Anderson?
Yeah.
Is that who he was married to?
From WKRP?
And he was on there. He was not having a very good time. And the guy from the game show that was on Nickelodeon, what was that game show that where you...
Double Dare?
Yeah, Double Dare. And they got into it on there.
Wow.
Really good. It was not a very pleasant episode.
Huh.
Really, Burt Reynolds was not being a very nice guy that night.
Was that like
If you can
fairly
find it on
recently, like
YouTube.
10 years or so, or?
No, I was back in the early 90s, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he probably was under 80 when he did this, because I was just looking and I saw that. I saw an article about him wrapping the filming on Dog Years, back when the movie was still called Dog Years, and that was back in July of 2016.
Oh.
So that's when they were filming the movie. Yeah, that's when they wrapped his scenes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So probably they finished their post-production stuff in 2017, because I think that's the year they have at the end of the
Right.
credits.
Right.
But it didn't come out until 2018.
Yep. And in June of 2017, that's when A24 and DirecTV acquired the North American distribution rights to Dog Years, and then they changed the title of it to The Last Movie Star.
Yeah. That would have been a good time to put it down and take a step back.
Yes.
He did a couple Universal Soldier sequels.
He was, yeah. He was.
Burt Reynolds
Soldier
was?
2 and 3.
Oh my God.
Yeah, TV
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, that's bad choices.
Yeah.
I always thought the first Universal Soldier was just mediocre, and I couldn't believe they made sequels to it.
Hey, if Beverly Hills Chihuahua had a sequel, I mean, anything can have a
Come on,
sequel.
you can have a sequel, yeah.
Basket Case had a sequel.
Oh yeah, I watched a marathon of those one time, and it was a big mistake.
Yep.
I forgot he did the movie Cop and a Half where he teams up with that kid.
Oh God.
I'm just looking through his Internet Movie Database with his theater.
Yeah. Here's the clash between the fans and the real actor.
Yeah. Well, they brought it out in him too. I mean, it's a good part of it is their fault for tricking him.
Yep. So funny thing is, originally Adam Rifkin was going to set the film in New York City and Philadelphia.
Oh wow.
I think that after they started looking for locations in a city that could be shot and look like New York City or Philadelphia, then I think the producer suggested that they should film in Tennessee.
Oh. Okay.
And that's when they went there. They kind of fell in love with the state, and he rewrote the film set in Nashville and Knoxville. And the director ended up saying at some point that the Tennessee truly became another character in the film. I guess you could say that because there's this whole scene that, Knoxville and Tennessee have.
Yeah, coming up pretty soon.
One time I went to this family reunion with Sarah's family, and we ended up staying in a cabin in the woods, like a three-floor cabin, and, we were there. Her parents were there. Her sister was there with her kids and all that. So it was really fun. There was a little jacuzzi outside in one of the balconies, and you could see this entire valley of forest in front of you from the balcony, and you would just sit on one of those Rondorak chairs, and when the wind blew, you would just hear this like rustling throughout the entire valley of all the trees, just like rustling. It was amazing place to be. And that was in Pigeon Forge.
Oh, Pigeon Forge,
Tennessee.
I've been there. Oh, it's a great place.
Yeah.
Sadly, that's where all those the fires. No, that was Gatlinburg, just down the road from.
Yeah, I've been to Gatlinburg too on the way there.
Yeah. Well, it's cool that you've been to Pigeon Forge, because that's usually my family goes there once a year.
Oh yeah, that's a great place, especially if you get like a cabin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
This
Lovely
is
place.
Kind of the low point of the movie. It seems like the point where you like this Vic Edwards the least. And then,
no.
He's popping pills. And...
Yeah, and then you expect...
He was actually looking for Viagra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the prescription for Viagra.
And then what happens here in a second? It's like, oh my God, is he dead or going to be in the hospital? But then they kind of just blow it off.
Yeah. Yep, he's remembering all the ladies that he fell in love with.
Yeah.
It just seems a lot of this, stuff when you look into Burt Reynolds' eyes, you can almost see he experienced this stuff in real life, and it's almost too real.
Yeah.
The performance, That's why it's so good, I guess. Such, an honest. He said it was one of the most honest portrayals he ever did.
Oh.
That shot where he's knocking on the window.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That shot where he was knocking on the window, and then he just sees his reflection, and he's like, "Oh, I'm old and I'm drunk," and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool shot of another bunch of art by Clive. It looks like Gabarat stuff, huh, Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have benefited from showing her actually drawing something or painting something at some point in the movie.
Yeah.
That would drive the point home a little more for me that she was the artist.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she does have supplies and she's got her art everywhere, but it doesn't. Yeah,
it just seems like it's stuff she's bought or something,
Yeah, it seems like there's a bridge that they needed to gap, or a gap they needed to bridge, just to show her actually being the artist.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this guy is such a scumbag.
Yeah.
He is.
The token douchebag.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Bjorn.
Yeah. Bjorn.
Yeah, so Ariel has been in Modern Family, apparently, which is, I have no idea. I'm proud to say I've never seen Modern Family ever.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not into that sitcom stuff.
Me either, yeah.
But, yeah.
I've
and apparently she's also been in a show called Sophia the First.
Yeah,
there's the Dragon Man. I have a picture of me standing next to that. I've actually touched that painting.
Oh, yeah. With the big scales and stuff coming out of his face.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't even take a shower. Just walk out the door.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So he just has a little Band-Aid on his head. I mean, it's like, geez, I thought he was going to end up in the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, like a massive contusion or something.
Yeah.
But, he broke the TV screen, man.
Yeah.
You know, come on.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's Burt Reynolds.
Some-
It's like,
sometimes old guys, they can withstand a lot of stuff.
yeah.
You get to that point, it's like, that's not going to kill me. I will take my award in absentia.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Can't say I blame.
the other thing, the other shoe you're sort of waiting to drop is like her car's going to break down at any moment, but it does. Luckily, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, and it's like they even have enough fuel to drive all the way wherever he wants to go for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
I would imagine her car would be always like on reserve.
Yeah.
Me too.
I was like, are they going to like run out of gasoline halfway through the highway?
Yeah.
I like the tattoo that she's got, the lightning bolt underneath her ear. Looks like an
Yeah.
earring that's just floating there.
And does she have a job?
That's a good question.
It never really goes into that.
Because she doesn't sell her. She's too self-conscious to sell her paintings, so she must have a job because she has an apartment.
Right. Is this supposed to be like a weekend thing or something? I think so.
Yeah.
And then he's going to have a moment where he sees himself as Bandit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those moments in the movie where he kind of talks to the characters that were, I guess some of his more famous
Yeah.
ones.
For Smokey and the Bandit, you remember a character that was in that called Buford T. Justice? I think he's like the sheriff in that movie. It was actually based on a real person. There was the real life Buford T. Justice was supposedly a cop
Oh my
that
God.
Burt Reynolds' father had known when he was a small town Florida police chief.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
we
amazing to think that was actually their name.
Mm-hmm.
This is so cool. It's so seamless.
Yeah. It's completely meta. It's like it's a
Yeah.
character played by Burt Reynolds talking to another character played by Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. Yep.
That car is sexy as hell, though.
We're in a fictional
Yeah.
universe where the movies that Burt Reynolds were in just had slightly different titles, or were just slightly different movies with Vic Edwards instead of Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. Do you guys remember Bandit's real name?
No.
Alrighty.
No, I don't either.
In this commentary trivia, Bandit's real name, and I hope somebody can remember that, but it was Bo Danville. That's the name,
Oh,
real
okay.
name for Bandit in the movie. Yeah, that's a sweet-looking Pontiac Trans Am.
So this is
Like-
Smokey and the Bandit.
Yep. Kit from Knight Rider was also a Pontiac Firebird, right?
Yeah.
I think I remember that.
Oh my God.
They used at least 4 different Pontiac Trans Ams for this movie because the original Pontiac engine wasn't strong enough to power the car for the bridge jump sequence.
Oh.
So they installed a Chevrolet engine in the jump car, and that's how they did that shot.
Wow. It's like that's like the Dukes of Hazzard. When you'd see them
Yeah.
jump, you would always start to see the car like it's gonna flip over and crash, and then they would switch angles, and then it's landing.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and there's movies that have some really amazing car bridge sequences. Like there's one in the James Bond movie where the car kind of does a barrel roll in the air and it just lands on the other side.
Oh, I knocked over my microphone. Hopefully that wasn't too loud.
There.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I knocked over my microphone for a second.
I think that Smokey and the Bandit was the second highest grossing movie of '77 after Star Wars.
Oh wow.
And
Look at
at
her
one
arm.
point, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. I think I see a Clive Barker tattoo on her arm, but go ahead and tell.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
I didn't notice that.
The Screaming Skull. We still have buttons of that left over from the.
See that on her arm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Good catch, Rob.
It is one of his skulls.
So apparently he was. Yeah, that's great. I see it right now. He also was in conversations to have played Han Solo in Star Wars, but I think he either turned it down or he was never really asked for it. He mentioned something about that in an interview. Could you imagine him being like Han Solo?
No,
Yeah.
I really couldn't.
Well,
I don't know.
You would have. Yeah, the movie would have gone in a much.
I mean,
different
hindsight
direction.
2020. I mean, yeah, but it would have been different.
Chewie and the Bandit. Yep. That's pretty cool.
He makes a good point.
Yeah. He also passed on being in Die Hard, One Flew Over
wow.
the Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah.
What did he pass on in Die Hard? Like playing like the bad guy or something?
No, I bet
me
it was
check that
probably
for you.
Bruce. I bet it was Bruce Willis's part.
Yeah, I think so. Let me just look that up.
I can't imagine that Bruce Willis was their first choice because he was a comedy actor in a sitcom.
Yeah, Moonlighting.
Yeah, Moonlighting. I mean, that's what everybody knew him from.
Yeah, he was going to play John McClane in Die Hard.
really?
He said,
Yeah.
tell me, in an interview, they asked him, why did you say no to some roles like John McClane in Die Hard? He said, I don't know. At the time, something struck me wrong, and I kept thinking back to films that I had turned down. And the films, when I saw it later, I was glad I turned them down. But there are some films I wish I'd done. But you've got to follow your heart and not your head sometimes. I haven't made the best decision about some pictures, and I realize that, but I did the best I could. Which kind of goes back to what he says in the movie scene where he says, bad decisions, right?
Yeah.
He was up for the leads in Rocky, MASH, Taxi Driver,
Jeez.
and
Man.
Terms of Endearment, which won an Oscar for Jack Nicholson. Yeah, in Deadline Hollywood, they asked him, you also said no to James Bond and Han Solo in a Star Wars sequel. Is there one in particular you wish you had gone and do the movie? He said, I would have liked to have had a shot at James Bond. If for no other reason, I'd be very rich now, and I could have had a good time with him. I would have at least smiled once in a while, whereas the new guy doesn't even chuckle. I think he's talking about Daniel Craig.
Oh. I wonder what year that would have been, like which James Bond he would have been. Maybe Roger,
Yeah,
maybe in
probably.
Roger Moore.
The Roger Moore era.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I love this scene right here coming up
Yeah.
because it's him going back to revisit his house when he was a child, and I kind of was touched by it because I recently went back to a house where I grew up with. I was really close to grandparents, and going back to they had been remodeled, but it never really changes.
Yeah.
No matter you go back to a place where you grew up in, you always remember how the place was when you were there. And that's what I love, the scene where he remembers his mother coming up.
I've done that. I wasn't brave enough to go knock on the door, but I took Jennifer back to where I grew up on Fox Island in Washington.
The house I grew up in is still empty.
Oh, really?
It got sold. Yeah, we sold it, and then it's still empty. I think they're waiting on being able to knock it down so someone can make a building on it with several apartments now. But it's still like just kind of closed down. So it's kind of sad. You walk by the house and it's kind of crumbling and stuff. It's like, I wish someone would do something with it. She's coming out. She's got a moo-moo on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be damned. Yeah. He also went out once with Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, he said in an interview that had an anecdote about taking an acting class with Marilyn Monroe in the late 50s. He would walk with her from 58th Street to the actor's studio, and he said he was kind of surprised that she was so quiet. She didn't say much. And he said in an interview with Conan O'Brien, he said, "How come they don't jump up and down when they see you?" And she said, "Oh, you want to see her?" And Marilyn Monroe said that, and she just threw her shoulders back, started strutting with purpose. Within 20 feet, she was surrounded by about 40 people.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, like we were talking about, Ryan, people, want to see the icon,
Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't want to see the real person.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is, where is this in is this, the football, this is the University of, Tennessee?
Yeah, I guess
I think so. I think you guys are a little further ahead than I am.
I think so too. Maybe just barely a second.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's going on a nostalgia trip.
Yeah. So is this true for Burt Reynolds that he's Jewish?
That's an interesting question.
I don't know either.
I don't know if he's Jewish or not, I'll be honest.
I know that he used to play football, but he didn't get injured the way that he says here in the movie. That's the Vic Edwards story. The real story for how he got injured and dropped football was he was in a car accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the movie they say like after he made a touchdown, all the other team just pigpiled on him and he hurt his knee.
Right.
He was a really good football player. I think he wanted to play football.
Yeah, and it's interesting in here he's sort of daydreaming about what it would have been like if he had been a famous football player instead of actor.
Yeah, I think he was Jewish. His real name was Burton Leon Reynolds Jr.
Oh.
I think so.
So he didn't really change his name that much. He just made it.
Yeah.
He just made it simpler.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Shane. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so painful to watch her like sort of moon over Bjorn.
Yeah.
It's kind of awkward for those two guys who are friends. One of the guy keeps trying to date his sister.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if I'd be able to date like one of my friend's sisters. I don't know if that would be something I'd be able to do.
But they don't seem like the brother and sister don't really seem that close anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, what a scumbag. I can't.
Yeah.
It's like right in her own apartment too.
Mm-hmm.
He can't go to his own place to cheat on her. He's got to do it right there.
More Clive Barker drawings.
Yeah.
Burt Reynolds' biography is called But Enough About Me, a Memoir. And it's from what I've read into it, it sounds like it's got lots of interesting, like Hollywood behind-the-scenes conversations and things that happened while they were doing movies.
I wonder if that inspired this movie and if they, never really intended for anyone else but Burt Reynolds to play this part.
Oh yeah, I was reading where the director said it was written for him, if he would have turned it down, he wouldn't have made the movie.
Wow.
Oh.
It's really nice to see movies like this get made because it seems like more and more it's like they've got to be these gigantic, blockbusters like the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Or sequels to things, or remakes. And here's a movie that's not supposed to start off a franchise.
Right.
Yeah.
I found out when I was researching for this commentary track that there was Smokey and the Bandit 2 and 3, and I'm like, I had no idea about the third one,
Yeah, I didn't either.
and I've never seen the second one.
I've been watching a show called The Good Place on Netflix
with Ted Danson.
Yeah, and there's a limbo place that's kind of like a in between heaven and hell, and the only movie they have to watch is a VHS of Cannonball Run 2. They're like, come on, not even the first one. I got to watch the second one.
Oh my gosh, yeah. When he says this part here, that's fun being a movie star, but nothing compares to being a football star. That's probably really, really true, because imagine being like on the field and you have a full stadium of people just cheering for you. Well, the team.
Yeah.
But and when you make a movie, it's kind of like you can hear about the box office and you can go to the premiere of the movie, but you don't get to see most of the audience that will see the movie around the world.
Yeah.
And here you got all those people cheering for you, and clapping and yelling and chanting. And it's got to be an amazing feeling.
And by the time they're doing press about a movie, they're already done with it, and they're thinking about what the next thing that they're going to do.
That's a good point.
But they have to sort of put on a happy face and pretend like they're all excited about this movie that they were done with a long time ago.
Here we go on the kick. This is the part with him and his first wife. It's a good sequence, but it's like I feel like in the ending part, it's kind of like. It's like way too saccharine sweet for the movie.
I really wish that she didn't have Alzheimer's. Yeah, because I kind of felt like it was cheating him of his chance at redemption because she didn't remember him. I mean, I guess. Yeah. And we don't even at the end, we don't really know for sure that she remembers or she's just happy to get out of their,
But you know what? But I think it goes with the theme of it, right?
Yeah.
It goes with the theme that he's being forgotten and his friends are dead and the ones that are still alive are getting old or they don't remember him anymore.
Yeah.
And it was still, in a way, it was kind of like his punishment for how he had treated. Like I got the impression he treated her pretty bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he didn't deserve.
But you wanted. I still wanted.
I get what you're saying.
Get a chance to. I mean, I'm not saying that I think it's bad this way. It's just, it just felt a little disappointing. I wanted him to get a chance to make it up to her.
And she's really connecting to him here. She's really like starting to look and see he's not just an old asshole. He's actually like a person, a man who, has a lot of experiences. And now he's kind of like going through this self-analysis and this revisiting of old places, and she's kind of like getting to connect to him. Am I crazy, or does it look like her makeup changes slightly between scenes? And some scenes looks like she's got more makeup, others looks like she's got more of a clean face to look more,
right, it really
childish almost, or
I wonder if it's the lighting.
Yeah, maybe.
That's probably it too. Mm-hmm.
Well, and now he's got his Band-Aid off and he just has a bruise on his head. But you'd think it would have been a cut. Oh, well.
I mean, he said in interviews about when he did his own stunts, like he hurt his knee when he was doing Shark. He had 4 operations on his knee.
Oh, God.
He had a splenectomy once. He did some stunts that really, really hurt him.
Yeah, I bet that's the football player in him thinking like, why do I have to stand aside, and have somebody else do these things? I can do this stuff. Yeah,
he said, it was a lot of dumb ideas of mine. I guess it was macho, or that I was going to get more respect from the crew if I did the stunt. The public doesn't know whether he did it or not, and it doesn't matter to them. the ones that do know anything about movies, they're somewhat impressed, but it doesn't make that much of a difference. I think that is just something that I love to do, honestly. I love to do the stunts because the stuntmen were all my friends and my best friends. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I came from Los Angeles to New York, okay? So let's just be here for 5 minutes.
Yeah, when watching this before, I was thinking, man, what's he gonna do? You know, is he gonna? I didn't really expect him to spend the night, and then because it's like those poor guys with their film festival. I guess he's just blowing them off.
Yeah. That was a funny moment there when he hits the glass when he says, "Oh, can you put your head on the glass?" And bam!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she's being loud again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird that he doesn't know what TMC is.
Yeah, he should, right? Because he
Yeah.
lives in LA.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of celebrities live in constant fear of being embarrassed by TMZ at some point.
Right, and it seems like they're just as happy to go after washed up people as they are any current stars. They just have
Right.
to fill up their pages or their time or whatever.
Hmm. I don't think he had a good time with Paul Thomas Anderson when he did Boogie Nights. I think in several interviews he has talked a lot of trash about Paul Thomas Anderson.
Oh.
Oh, really? What did he say?
Yeah. He said, "I think he's talented, but I don't think he's a nice man."
Oh.
He said that Paul Thomas Anderson is one of those directors that don't like actors, especially actors that have the lead in the picture. Says he's smart, but he's a funny little prick. I don't know. He's a good director.
Wow.
Well,
Jeez.
So, yeah. It was one of these interviews that he did for Deadline Hollywood where he was talking about tales that he wanted to tell about his memoir and, making this movie and stuff.
Yeah. This is kind of cool, this gigantic penthouse hotel that they get.
The Knoxville Grand Hotel, huh?
Yeah.
That looks amazing. Yeah. And that's like they tell him here it's $600 a night. And she was in some movies too, I think, The Receptionist. I'm trying to remember what movies I saw her in, but I remember
Oh.
her face. Let me check to see what she was in, because I think she was in some comedies. Or maybe I'm thinking of someone else. My assistant.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Monica Tilling. She plays the front desk girl.
she been in what comedies has she been in?
Let's see. She's been in a comedy, a TV show called Daddy Issues, and Love Life TV series in 2015. Maybe that's where I saw her. I don't know. I don't think I've seen that show. Maybe she just has one of those faces.
Yeah.
This is kind of a nice moment. The night manager that knows who he is actually willing to help him out.
Oh, yeah. It's like, let me give you the penthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because she doesn't know who he is, she's just like, doesn't want to help.
I've seen him in something, I think. His voice sounds familiar. I don't know.
And here in the hotel lobby, there's going to be another guy who recognizes him when he's sitting in a couch.
Yeah.
And that's going to be former NFL and NCAA football coach Jerry Glanville.
Oh.
Mhm.
Huh.
So this movie won some awards. It won the Rome International Film Festival, November 2017. It premiered at the 2017 Tribeca Film Festival, and it won the Chairman's Award at the 2017 San Diego Film Festival. I guess they didn't win any awards at the Nashville Film Festival.
You know,
Yeah, that was a joke.
Okay, Christian, when Christian brought this up to us, there was no news at all about how Clive Barker's art being in this movie. I think we were the only ones that talked about it.
It was an exclusive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just very. It was surprising that they. Yeah, like you said, we just were told that the paintings were in there, but nobody really made much of a thing about the movie that these pictures are for Clive Barker.
Yeah. Yeah, and I bet I bet Seraphim had a lot to do with it. There's even when we get to the end credits, there's even a link where it says like you can buy Clive Barker's art at realclivebarker.com, which isn't true anymore, but it was probably at the time they were filming. Ugh, stupid Bjorn.
Ugh.
And Bjorn pretty much spends all day just in bed with girls. It's
Yeah.
he doesn't seem to do much apart from that. That's just what he's there for. Oh, that's a wonderful looking balcony there.
Yeah, so look that Vic that totally does not look like Clive Barker's style,
Yeah,
right?
No.
that's what I thought.
No.
No, not I think not at all.
Maybe it's supposed to look like it, but it's not the same. It is
No.
not the same scratchy style.
No.
They tried, though. They tried.
Yeah, and probably there's not very many viewers of this movie that would make that distinction, but so I'm sure it's fine. But
Mm-hmm. You can. I've seen people do it.
yeah,
Just go to your local tourism office, and they will gladly put up some paintings over there every month.
yeah,
At least that works like for me. There's lots of free spaces where you can show your art if you're
Yeah.
willing to look for them.
yeah. We have in Fairbanks. We have first Friday of every month. You can go on tours all over Fairbanks and see different people's art, and we even did that at Remax for a while when I was a realtor.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You should show some of your art, Ryan, with those paintings you do. Those are really good.
Well, and it's
Poured paint on vinyl records. Is that what you do?
Yeah, those are
yeah,
really good.
and mostly canvases. But Jennifer we had a record store was going out of business, and they were selling off their records for 50 cents a piece or something. So we bought a whole bunch of crappy records.
Oh, look at that bathroom. That's amazing.
Yeah,
And she's going to look up Vic Edwards, and you're going to see a bunch of old Burt Reynolds pictures, including the one where he did for is it Playboy? Yeah, I think it was the Cosmopolitan.
There's a little bit of shortcutting in here, because can you imagine how horrible it would be to try to do Google searches with a TV remote?
Right. It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean this would be a frustrating, horrible experience, and they're kind of cutting out how much time that would really take.
I was surprised though that they didn't. Since I was watching on Amazon Prime, I was
there's that.
they could have used hey Alexa, show me Vic Edwards or something like that.
Yeah,
That's a classic picture, isn't it? Of Burt Reynolds. Him.
yeah.
Arnold. They did a bunch of people. Arnold Schwarzenegger was in that same kind of spread too.
But now she's actually interested enough to see what everybody else sees in him, which is kind of cool that they're having this bonding.
That's I found that clip of Johnny Carson and the whipped cream on YouTube. Yeah, but about that Cosmopolitan spread in an interview in 2016 to Hollywood Reporter, he said, I wish I hadn't done that. And he goes on to say, as long as it was only a certain amount of pubic hair showing, I was all for it. But he said that, he wished he hadn't done that. It was really stupid. I don't know what I was thinking. He continued to talking about his scantily clad photo shoot, in which he lay atop a bearskin rug with a cigarette pressed between his smirked lips. Probably, knowing me, it was like, "You won't do that, you chicken," or something. And I went, "Well, that's all I had to hear, of course." I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And he said, "The only rules I had was I wanted a lot of drinks before doing the shot because I was a little bit, well, I have to be truthful. I was totally zonkered when we did the picture. And that stupid smile, that's what it is." So he was drunk when he took that picture. More drama.
Yeah.
Doesn't really work much.
Well, and she's got a laptop here, so, what are they doing? What is she doing trying to do Google searches on a TV?
Yeah, she was in the tub at the time, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, she could have done this before the tub and on a laptop, and it would have taken her, 1/10 of the time.
right. I guess she just felt like doing it when she was in
Yeah.
the tub. Yeah. Oh, there it is. And there's her art on the table there.
Oh, yeah, that's some Clive Barker sketches there on the...
Yeah.
Yep. So I heard that people in Tennessee or in some southern states, they like to put salted peanuts in Coca-Cola bottles and then drink it
Yeah,
that
that's
way.
something we do here too. I used to do that when I was a kid, but
Yeah.
it's like makes the Coke and the peanuts brings it some kind of the taste is very unique.
So that saltiness gets into it, and it.
Yeah.
I'll never tried it. I should try
Yeah, give
that.
it a
I just
try.
brought it
I
up
mean-
because it looks like what that bottle had, like some residue inside. It looked like peanuts, so that's why I thought about that.
This is another sort of false scare in this movie that it's like, oh my God, he's going to die. He's having a heart attack.
What's really ironic is that he died at 82 with a heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple of years after this. Yes, call the ambulance.
Yeah.
Did Burt Reynolds have any kids? I was just curious. I didn't know if he.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Huh. I know he was married several times, but let's see. And that's where the NAA, that former NFL guy is going to show up.
Yes, he
He's
had
one of the guys
son.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Quentin Anderson Reynolds. I guess that was he and Lonnie Anderson had a son together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. WKRP in Cincinnati. Yep. And he's like, "Excuse me, guys, I'm having a heart attack."
Yeah.
So Burt Reynolds had Dutch, English, Scot-Irish, and Scottish ancestries. So now I'm wondering if he was really Jewish. I didn't really get to confirm that.
That's cool. That little move, punching him in the throat. That's what Vic had told her to do.
That
Yeah.
works, right? That actually does work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you do that, they're gonna be hurt.
Yeah.
She's completely out of place in that fancy hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her style. Amongst
and you kind of expect people to be more disrespectful to her than they are, which is nice that she kind of gets away with it, I guess.
And this is a pretty moment. It's like he finds like his he finds his people again. Is like he finds his style, his swag, right? He's like singing a song for like a marrying couple, and he's just being all suave. He can turn it on. He can still turn it on.
Yeah.
It's funny though that this is a private wedding ceremony at this fancy hotel, and nobody says anything about her just walking up and standing right in front of the stage. Nobody's like, "Hey, excuse me, are you friends with the groom or the bride?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that's way too much midriff. I'm sorry, way
Yeah.
too much.
Well, yeah, and you could see her butt.
And then he asks her, "What do you do, sir?" "I'm a doctor." Such a cliche.
Yeah. Wasn't he like a proctologist or something? I guess we'll find out in a minute.
Yes. Yeah.
And he makes a little joke about it.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you. It's an unexpected honor and treat to be able to sing one of my favorite songs to the new Mr. and
It's a nice moment.
Daniel Delson.
Yeah.
What do you do, sir? I'm a doctor. Impressive. What kind?
Proctologist.
Oh, he said rectal surgeon.
Oh, cool.
Colorectal surgeon.
Pain in the ass.
Mazel tov.
So Vic Edwards is a child of Tennessee, but Burt Reynolds was really born in Lansing, Michigan,
Oh, okay.
and he passed away in Florida, in Jupiter, Florida. That's where he was living.
Oh. Yeah, it seems like when people move away from LA, they kind of get out of people's minds and, are not in movies quite as much anymore.
We pay closer attention than I thought. Shane's been in love with me since fifth grade.
I'm not one to actually go look at Rotten Tomatoes, but at Rotten Tomatoes Tomatometer, this movie had a 50% rating, which I think
Jesus
is really
Christ.
unfair.
I saw that too. I was
Yeah.
like, really?
Do you think that people's expectations for movies are changing? That they can't accept a movie like this anymore?
Maybe. I guess the movie is it's kind of a quiet movie. It's kind of like a movie that went under the radar a little bit. It's about an old aging star. Maybe that doesn't appeal to a lot of younger people as much, like millennials. But the audience score at Rotten Tomatoes lists this as 73%, which is, I think, a much more fair score. Oh, here's Deliverance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for somebody who wasn't old enough to remember Burt Reynolds, would this movie not be very good for them, maybe?
I love this movie. This movie's awesome. I mean, I don't know what other people would experience, but if you've never seen Deliverance and you're listening to our commentary track, go check it out. It's a really awesome story.
Yeah, it's a pretty depressing story.
There are some good moments in it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite.
Squeal, piggy, squeal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out what sort of reviews we had from critics for the last movie star, and the 50% comes from like these critics from Vulture, New York Magazine. RogerEbert.com actually liked it, but some of these critics just say strikes a note of banality in its first sequence from which it rarely deviates. I don't think that's really true.
No, I mean, I think they downplayed how sad it was, which was better, because it I don't know. I mean, that's not banal to me. It's just
Another critic for the New York Times said that it allows the ever-assured actor Burt Reynolds to score a touchdown on an empty field. It's like, ouch.
Oh. Yeah. Unnecessarily harsh.
Yeah, I would say so too. I'm not crazy about Lil's character. I think she's a little too over the top. And I guess they do that as kind of the counterpoint to like Vic Edwards being old and kind of a quiet, strong type.
Yeah, it's a really exaggerated sort of generational gap, it seems like.
Yeah. He's like very jaded, very quiet, and she's very exuberant and on all sorts of medication, and everything's a drama for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, this scene is like, oh no, where's this movie going?
I honestly thought he was dead.
I
But
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't know, is he?
Yeah, there were so many times in this movie. It's nice to see it a second time and not have to worry about that stuff.
Help, I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I'm not making this up, but there was a picture I saw of Burt Reynolds at some event that he was in, and I can tell that he's got a necklace around his neck, and it looks like one of those things that has a button for like life alert.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I swear I saw a picture of him, and it looks like, hey, is that one of those life alert things?
Yeah.
Which I guess is a really useful thing to have if you live by yourself when you're 80.
Yeah. Yeah, my grandmother never got used to using cell phones. Like, she couldn't get past the idea that you had to push the green button to make the call or whatever. She just wanted them to be like, so she had one of those.
Oh, I see.
She had a cell phone, but she would just leave it turned off all the time.
It kind of defeats the purpose of the cell phone.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the one where he turns the page and tries to redeem himself, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a sad moment.
Yeah.
Does she have different clothes now? I mean, where did she get these clothes?
I'm not sure. It seems like the same gray top and black Daisy Dukes.
She had
Sometimes she has a jacket on.
She had that T-shirt, but the day before that said "Happy Happy."
Oh.
So I don't know.
Maybe she was tying that up to her waist or something, and now she's putting it on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad when you hear that she's got Alzheimer's, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost his chance. It feels like. But she was just expecting to take him to the airport, so she wouldn't have any extra clothes unless they were just in her car. Which is probably a good chance that she might have extra clothes just laying around in her
All
car.
right. So, in an interview with Deadline Hollywood, he was asked, if young Burt Reynolds came to you looking for advice, what would you tell him? And he said, well, I tell him, be careful what you turn down because you never know. You never know, And when you do get something, just kick the shit out of it. Give it everything you've got.
Yeah.
The best advice came from Spencer Tracy. It's a great profession, but don't let anybody else catch you acting. I think at the end of his career, he was teaching acting. So he says, I teach acting every Friday night here. I have a class full of people from 85 to 18, and it's amazing to watch them and see that some have the chops now. When these students first came to me, you wanted to just throw them out the window. But they've gotten better, better, and better. I'm really proud of them now. The main thing I tell them constantly is what Spencer Tracy told me. Don't let them catch you acting. I'll stop them right in the middle of the scene sometimes and say, I see you acting. Stop. And don't get back up there again. You can think until you can do it without acting.
Wow.
So
that's an interesting way of thinking about it.
Yeah. Because when you catch someone acting, then you know that they're acting, and you can tell that they're trying.
It pulls you out of the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now she's got a shirt with a grenade on it instead of happy, happy shirt.
So, some crazy stuff that he did when he was doing his own stunts was when he was shooting City Heat with Clint Eastwood. He got walloped in the face, and it set his jaw out of alignment. And he ended up losing a ton of weight over that. And then rumors started spreading that he had AIDS. And
oh my God,
yeah. He was also going to shoot a movie called Operation CIA in Thailand, and then he collapsed in the middle of the shoot because he was in a polluted river, and they found snail parasite eggs hatching in his bloodstream.
Oh my God.
Man,
I know.
I need
That's
some
what happens when
that.
you do your own stunts.
Wow. Yeah, so maybe this kind of stuff happens to stuntmen all the time, and you just don't hear about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wasn't there like one of those movies that had the zombies and Mila Jovovich? I forgot the name of those
Oh,
movies.
the Resident Evil.
Resident Evil. Like I think one they were shooting one of the last ones, and I think one stuntman actually died doing the movie.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that can happen.
That's very more common than people think. Stuntmen dying.
Yeah.
You
during
think
a
you
film.
think
It's
about
very sad.
the choices that he made, though. I mean, from his point of view, how is he going to know that Star Wars is? I mean, because everybody thought Star Wars was hokey and a stupid idea, and there was no respect for science fiction movies at that time. How could he know
Right.
that was going to be, a bigger movie than Smokey and the Bandit, or was it Smokey and the Bandit, or that he was making at the same time?
Yeah, it became
Yeah.
the second grossest movie in 1977. So, yeah, he can't tell. It's just like when they
Yeah.
were making Hellraiser, nobody knew Pinhead was going to become so iconic.
Yeah.
It just happens that way.
If you
Looks
try
like-
to do something or make something iconic, it's just not going to happen. It just has to happen. It just
Looks
will.
like they put a little bit of money into that award.
Yeah.
Although
And
it's
LED
kinda,
lights.
it kind of flopped over though for a second there.
Yeah. I guess that's really what's supposed to look like. Really cheap thing that they just
Yeah.
put together. And it's just like, oh boy, here we go again.
Yeah.
Here you go, sir. Here's your award.
Unfortunately, until today, the last time I thought of this great thing was 1977.
That's true.
That's true.
He has been known. Yeah, he has been known for standing up to directors and sometimes putting people against a wall.
Today I did. I thought I was too good friends from Belly just
Little film festival. That's how it all starts.
Yeah.
Are there any movie festivals around the places where you live in?
Yeah, there's the Asheville Film Festival here in Asheville.
Do you usually go to it, or have you ever been there?
No, I've not been to it.
There's nothing here really, unless it's put on by the University of Alaska, Fairbanks.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like this scene is crazy. Like they kidnapped the lady out of the hospital, and somehow they just managed to go out without anybody calling the cops. And
Yeah.
and Lil is like hitting people with a cane
I know.
and like swinging that thing around. Like, no, we're gonna take this lady. Nobody's gonna stop us.
Yeah.
It's the scenes in the middle that matter. That's, I think, a really good line for the movie here.
Yeah.
I think I would prefer the title Dog Years. I think it makes a lot more
Yeah.
sense than the last movie star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I understand why they went for that one as well. But I think the
I-
Dog Years.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's-
The last movie star seems like a really superficial kind of title.
Yeah.
I don't like it because he's not really the last movie star. He's just an old
Yeah.
movie star.
And he's not even the last movie star of his generation because he
Yeah.
still has Chevy Chase. And I'm sure there's plenty of other
Yeah.
actors when they talk about Clint Eastwood and De Niro and whatever. It's like even
I'm
as
sure
a
it's
symbolic
title
thing. Yeah.
change to please somebody.
Oh yeah, that's when the
Producer fund.
A24. Yeah, when A24 decided to distribute it, they said we'd like to change the name. So that's when
Yeah.
they did that. Oh, the seaweed thing. Callback.
Yeah. So I like to think that she remembers,
I think so too.
but they don't just come out and tell you. She never
Yeah.
actually says like, "Oh, is it you, Vic?" or anything
Well,
like that.
she's kissing him, so I think
Yeah.
that's left
That's
unspoken.
enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
When did you propose to Jennifer, Ryan? Where did you propose to Jennifer?
On a train on the way. We were going from Seattle to Vancouver, Vancouver, BC.
Oh,
Yeah.
on a train?
Yeah. That was like, oh my God, like 97 or something like that. We didn't get married until 2001 though.
Yeah. Did you have a ring and all?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
I did it on the Ferris wheel at Cedar Point.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
classic.
Yeah, I waited until we were up in the top, and I pulled out the little ring box, and that's where I proposed.
Is Cedar Point in California?
Yeah. Wait, no, Cedar Point is... Where is Cedar Point? Shucks. I think it's in Ohio. Let me check that.
Oh, okay.
I like that Shane is seal clapping over there in that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cedar Point is Sandusky, Ohio. It's
Oh, okay.
roller coaster capital of the world. Has like 19 roller coasters.
Jeez.
It was at the end of the day, so I was pretty tired and sunburned and wet, and yeah.
That's kind of nice. I mean, he made her life better.
Yeah, here's to new beginnings.
Yeah.
Everybody learns a lesson.
Yeah, and when he says, why don't you try giving a chance to the guy who really loves you, that kind of digs a little bit because, it's a mistake that he made in his life.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, good point. Do you know about that goo-goo stuff
No.
that he was eating?
Goo-goo
I've never heard of that.
clusters? Rob, is that a real thing in the South?
I don't know. I've never had one. So
Okay.
I'll check and see.
Oh my God! Yeah, this is so huge for Clive Barker.
This is where,
right
you know,
now.
I felt like they were putting on a Clive Barker.
Oh my God! Look
art.
at that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
There's
one
the-
from Aberrat over there.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then there's that one that's on Paul Kane's Monsters. I think was there.
Horrorology.
Oh,
Wasn't
horrorology.
it
Yeah.
one- Isn't that one with the
Stephen
like
Jones.
the character with the cross on the forehead? Isn't that used in Voices of the Damned?
I
Yes.
think so.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Mhm. And they are much bigger in real life. Those are just prints. You can tell that those are printed on.
That's cool.
Oh, he should call the new dog Smokey.
yeah.
Nice name.
Yeah, but I wonder
Yeah.
if the new dog doesn't have a name that's referring to his old life. Like that other dog was called. Was named after
Squanto?
Squanto was named after one of his
Yeah.
movies.
Hey,
So maybe he's not going to live in the past quite so much anymore.
he still has the LED lights going. And here he kind of looks at the camera, nods and winks,
Yeah.
gives that little smile like, yeah. I like it. It was really, really entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I ended up revisiting a lot of stuff by Burt Reynolds, just trying to get some preparation for this. So, yeah, there's really good stuff. Go check out Cannonball Run, Deliverance, and lots of movies that he was in. They were really good.
It's a great performance.
I
he
used to
gives
mix
in
up Smokey and the Bandit with that movie with the orangutan where Any Which Way But Loose, where the orangutan would punch people in the face.
that. Yeah.
What? I don't think I've ever seen that one.
It's
No, I
the
didn't
orangutan's name was Clyde, and he would ride in the passenger side of the truck, and Clint Eastwood would say "Right turn, Clyde," and he would signal by punching his fist out the window, and so he would get him to punch people in the face by doing that.
Oh,
He was
There's
also
a long
director.
history
I didn't
of-
know he was a director. He directed a lot of films.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm just going through his internet movies. He's directed about
Wow.
14 films.
Lil's art
See,
provided
mostly
by Clive
TV.
Barker. Sorry.
yeah, there it is. There's a history of like big time actors making movies with monkeys, like Ronald Reagan and
Yeah.
Bonzo.
Yeah.
Then you got Clint Eastwood with an orangutan.
Yeah.
I always like that movie Dunstan Checks In. So, remember that one? That was a good one.
Jerry Lewis and is Marilyn Monroe in a movie with chimpanzees? I think I was trying to remember that. Yep, and that was the last movie star.
Yeah. Well, and
Also known as Dog Years.
and when we get to the end credits, they'll mention the real Clive Barker store. It's kind of cool.
They do?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that we got to do this. I think that on my own, I probably never would have watched this if I wouldn't have known, because it's got mediocre, like the IMDb score is like 7 out of 10. It's kind of mediocre, but I thought this was a great movie.
Yeah, I'm really surprised at the scores, but I'm not going to put too much faith in all that stuff. A movie affects me personally in a certain way.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
But it's like, would you have thought to watch this movie if we weren't doing this for the podcast?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I don't even know if I really would have heard about it.
Yeah.
Unless y'all would have, y'all had that exclusive, about the art.
Yeah.
It definitely was a good push towards watching this movie. I'll give it that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that I did. I just don't know if I would have thought to watch this.
Right. So I hope you guys enjoyed.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just saying, I'm not the biggest Burt Reynolds fan. I mean, I like a lot of his stuff, but just if I would have saw this and it had been like, oh, it's a Burt Reynolds movie, I probably wouldn't have jumped at the chance to watch it. But I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I was telling somebody that I was talking to somebody, and I was telling him, I'm going to be watching the most recent Burt Reynolds movie, and she goes, "Oh, is that Boogie Nights?" I'm like, "That's like 20 years ago."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up that the drivers in the credits showed up, and one of them was called Timothy Wrong Way Green. So it's probably one of the stunt drivers or something.
I'm sure that's some kind of an in joke from the production.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said there's going to be a real Clive Barker store credit here?
Yeah, down at the end. It'll say, like, you can buy Clive Barker's art at realclivebarker.com.
Visual effects artist Gretchen McNellis. They did a good job with the green screen.
Yeah.
Putting Burt Reynolds back into these movies.
And the writing in that was really clever because they used previous dialogue and they had, he had real conversations with his character just by kind of meshing the old dialogue together with what he was saying.
I want to say something about. I thought the music was the score by, Austin. Austin Wintory was his name. Was very good, and the songs they picked for the movie were good.
Yeah, there's a Willie Nelson song in there. Austin Wintory. I think I've seen this name before in other stuff. I have to check that. And of course, there was. I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was a lot of old Smokey moonshine signs in the movie, in the bar. Yeah. I love that stuff. When I was at Knoxville, I went to this place where they would give you free tastings of moonshine, and you can get pretty plastered, just with the samples, because they will do like 10 samples. You don't have to take all of them. But, you can tip them every time they give you a sample. But it's like they have a little show where they go like, this one has like honey flavor. Now we're going to give you some grain alcohol so you guys can cleanse the palate for the next one. And it's like, if you don't want the next shot, you can just flip your glass down. And I was like, okay, I'm passing this one. So I was doing like every other one. And at the end, you come out of there, you might have spent like maybe $6 in tips or something. But it's like, holy crap. That moonshine really gets to you.
I had no idea that was a real thing. I was thinking it was a reference to Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah, that's a real moonshine brand, and it's pretty delicious.
Old Smokey moonshine.
Yeah, it does kind of creep up on you.
This is
especially the one that's kind of got the fruit smell, the fruit taste, or the pear, or honey and stuff. It you drink it and it's like, oh yeah, this is like a fruity beverage, but it's moonshine. So
jeez,
that is gonna get you pretty smashed. And then I think I went straight into the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum, which was also fun.
Did you
Yep.
go to that in Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge, or where did you go to see? Where did you go to the Ripley's?
I think it might have been.
Out.
Let me check that. I think that might have been Gatlinburg. Now that I think about it.
I know I saw this before. I wonder if we passed it already. It doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. That's right. They have the auditorium, spelled ODD, auditorium.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Clive Barker's art. RealCliveBarker.com.
Represent.
Yeah.
Film Knoxville.
Yeah.
So that was 2018 Dog Years Productions.
Yeah. Cool.
I figured they'd have. Well, I guess he hadn't passed on, but in loving memory of Hannah, I thought maybe they would have had something for Burt Reynolds, but he hadn't passed before this movie.
Yeah.
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 It's funny at the end you see. It's funny at the end where you see the characters and events depicted in this photo play are fictitious. Any similarity to actual persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental.
It's like, no, it's not coincidental.
No, it's
not. No.
It's just a disclaimer they have to put in there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's
all right.
Very
great
intentional.
Film.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad we got to do this. You know, we are stretching out a little bit from Clive Barker because this is really just features his art, but you know, otherwise we may never have gotten a chance to do this, so I'm glad that we did.
Yeah, and thank you for our Kickstarter supporters that helped us get to this point where we can do this commentary track. You guys are what keeps us going, and this was a lot of fun, and I was glad to have you on board for this one, Rob.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and
thanks for letting me come on board.
And for our Kickstarter supporters, I do want to say I'm going to be spending this weekend working on boxing up your orders. The money's come in, and I'm going to start putting together matching up the what people ordered with what we have, and putting them together and getting them ready to ship. Sure. Yeah, so if everybody out there has filled out their survey, I hope that helps a lot, because I had a lot of people sending me messages on Facebook and stuff, saying, like, can you combine this and this and this, and I added extra money, and it's like, if you do it on Facebook, I'm going to lose it, please do it through the survey and through, messages on the Kickstarter, and then I can put it all together in one place. So, yeah, hopefully that should all go pretty smoothly, and we'll have that done within a week or so.
Right.
So what's up? What's next for y'all on the podcast? Y'all got?
Probably next will be a news episode, and then I think we might start going into the Dark Ditties commentaries.
Oh, okay.
Which are also available on Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah, yeah.
Did Finders Keepers finally make its way onto?
No, but I think that
not yet.
I think that's only days away. So yeah, by the time we get to it, it'll be long out.
Right on. And this commentary track, having no beginning, will have no end.
All right. You can find the show notes for this episode and join the discussion over at www.clivebarkercast.com, where we have news, features, reviews, and links to all the ways you can connect with us. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts and every other place you can find podcasts. Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial podcast and news blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans.
Thanks for listening.